Hello! Good morning, good Monday, happy Valentine's Day. To celebrate Valentine's Day, one half of this show is in a committed relationship and out of town. And the other one is hosting all by himself, and after a Bengals loss is too depressed to book a guest. However, a new Moon Knight trailer is out, and I'm pretty sure I can fill the hour on that. So, who's driving the show?
Who's driving? Oh my God, Bear's driving. How can that be?
It's just me. It's Monday Movie Nonsense! Good morning. Happy Monday. It's Monday Movie Nonsense. And I just want to start off this show by saying, let's remember the good times.
This could be a sentence that a month ago would sound incomprehensible. From 31 yards, McPherson and Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
And went to the Super Bowl. They did. And, there's probably a lot of really good times to put together a really action-packed show, Monday show for you guys, because the Oscar nominations have come out. The Super Bowl was full of trailers. There is so much stuff to talk about. What can I say? Here's the thing. Putting a show together is much easier when you don't. Here was my weekend. We shot, which some of you may know or may not know, the first shooting day of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Season 9 was this weekend. You might be able to tell from my voice that I've shouted a lot of this weekend. This might be a really good day to do a voiceover reel. Friday and Saturday might be a good time to kind of look forward and go, what do we do on Monday Movie Nonsense? Let's start putting a script together. Let's start throwing some stuff into the timeline and that sort of thing. That did not happen on Friday or Saturday. And I can literally refuse to divulge anything that happened this weekend because you'll be very excited for all of the surprises. Let me just say, literally everything that was shot this weekend was an absolute 500-foot home run, center field home run. But that obviously took up a ton of time. It was great to see everybody. I mean, my goodness, after doing 2 years of Zoom shows, to have all of us in the same space was just incredible. But I don't even know if I can say that we had a good time or that it was even shot. So I will move on from that. Let's just say this does not set up creating a good Monday show for you guys. So, of course, I had Sunday to set up this show. I know Paul's out of town. He's visiting some national parks. But Sunday was taken up as well, watching the Bengals play the LA Rams. And if you've met me over the years, you probably haven't heard me talk about sports much. I don't go on and on about sports. However, when the Bengals are doing good, I'm a very big fan and pay attention to it. And I do have to say, it was just great to see the Bengals in a Super Bowl. I spent the entire time going, the Bengals are in the Super Bowl? So when they lost, spoilers, when they lost, it was just, my second favorite team won, so, that's pretty good.
And there was much rejoicing.
But I just spent the entire game going, I can't believe I'm watching the Bengals in a Super Bowl. This is just ridiculous. Okay, but that's enough about this. Look, this is not Monday night football nonsense. No, this is about movie nonsense. And all kinds of stuff happened this week. They announced the Oscar nominations. Always a big day. And if you know this show, you know one of us, one of the ordinary news team that brings you nonsense every Monday, follows the Oscars very tightly. And but long before there was a movieguys.net, Paul would email his Oscar rant, and there are all these Oscar rants passed, and Paul would spend all his time, writing out the Oscar rant. And Paul is very committed to the Oscars. He has seen everything on this list. Let's go down the ones that I've seen. Your nominees for Best Picture: Nightmare Alley. I've seen Nightmare Alley. It's very good. Very good. Quite the artistic achievement. Don't Look Up. I've seen Don't Look Up. What an incredible satire. It's actually not given credit for just how good a satire it is. Dune. Haven't seen it. Drive My Car. Never heard of it. Belfast. Ooh, I've heard of that. Haven't seen it. Licorice Pizza. Boy, I really want to go see that movie. I have not seen it. The Power of the Dog. I've heard a lot about Power of the Dog. I've heard it's boring. It looks boring. But it's in the, front runner to become Best Picture of the Year. And a classic Oscar Best Picture. You used to be bored by Best Pictures all the time. I mean, when the first Oscars I started watching, it was like, I'm just getting into movies. It's Star Wars, and I'm like, it's Star Wars is nominated for Best Picture. And so my first, God bless you. Andres, want to come on the show? My first experience with the Oscars was being pissed that Star Wars didn't win Best Picture. It set the tone, and the movies just were the most boring movie possible would get Best Picture, especially from my point of view as a little kid, but even now it's like, what's the one, the running, the guys with the running, the British guys run a lot. I'll just make up titles if I can't remember the name, in real time here. But, just the most boring movies won just year after year. Out of Africa, Gandhi. I'm sure these are good movies. Ordinary People. Ultimately, I watched that as an adult. And Chariots of Fire. Thank you. I catch a lot of crap for not remembering the titles of movies, but I do have to say, there's a flow to the show. I'm trying to keep talking here and trying to keep entertaining. So, yeah, it's like the part of my brain that remembers that it was called Chariots of Fire and not dun 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 dun, which I guess didn't fit on the movie poster. Send me a text. Oh, all right. All right. We might have to bring you in, Andres. He may not have seen some of these movies as well. Let me continue because I'm going to talk about the nominees here, and then I'm going to talk about. The big thing is to talk about in terms of movies this week is the trailers from the Super Bowl. Maybe we'll bring you in for that, Andres. Okay, so let's continue going down here. Licorice Pizza. I really want to see this. Power of the Dog. I will force myself to see Power of the Dog. Again, that goes back to my point. It's like the boring movie used to win the Oscars all the time. And then suddenly at some point it became like the good movies. You're like, that's the one I wanted to win. West Side Story. I'm really upset I haven't seen West Side Story. I have a feeling that's probably not even in theaters anymore. I'm going to end up seeing this movie in my living room on a TV. It's just absurd. My man, Steven Spielberg, still showing he's got it, man. And an ultimate statement, just from the trailer, I haven't seen it yet, but the ultimate, like people say things shouldn't be remade or there's no reason to remake that. Well, I guess West Side Story, you could say culturally, because of the representation that's supposed to be in that movie, that one should be remade. But as a classic, nobody would say that movie should be remade. And Bart Caius said it back in the old movie guys, movie showcast. Used to say all the time, what do people want in a sequel? What do people want in a remake? Give me the same, but different. Give me the same, but different. And that sounds like that's a funny thing to say, but I gotta say, something like this, and I see other things do this as well. Give me the same, but different. Like West Side Story, it's the same, but different. And to the idea of the shot for shot remake like Psycho or whatever, which has only been done once, which is why that movie's amazing in a weird way. All right, so let me look at this. Yeah, right. It looks completely boring. Jane Campion, obviously not the movies aren't exciting in the traditional exciting way. You have to get into the tone that Jane Campion is creating, the environment, and then you just live in that for a while. And I'm sure Power of the Dog appears to really do that, like put you in this place where you're like, West Side Story is still at Universal Studios. Oh, this is great. Oh, you saw it this week? Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's good news. That's good news. I'm gonna text Andres. We'll get him on here because it's now. I'm already talking to Andres through the text here. I wish I had a longer clip so I could actually have time to text him. But I'll get back to you in a second, Andres. So West Side Story, great. King Richard. I've heard that's like the audience. I haven't seen it. I've heard that's the audience pleaser of these that like should win, as an audience pleaser. And the audience pleaser movies come too. I mean, Green Book, people give that a lot of crap for the racial politics of it, but boy, that's that classic like enjoyable, obviously it's, the white guy standing up and saying, "Why don't you racists stop being so racist?" I mean, that's it's kind of like how the message gets out in the bigger Hollywood movies, But I did have to say, when Green Book won, I was like, well, that's not surprising, because it's that sort of like, by the way, have any of you thought of not being racist? And obviously written now for a period piece or whatever. Now, Coda is one that was surprising. Not surprising. Sorry, it surprised me because I had not heard of Coda until like 2 weeks ago. And it's just amazing how some of these can really sneak by. But I think we'll cover more. I'm going to take a week. I'm going to see all these movies. Paul's going to come back here, and then we're gonna talk about Oscar nominees and actually. Plus, we'll have like an Oscar like show that's probably going to be all Oscars right before it, where we make predictions, talk about everything. It's going to give me a little more time. It's always been a tradition in my family to see the Oscar movies like the last week before before the Oscars. When I was a kid, like that was when you went to go see adult films, was like the week or two before the Oscars. That's when I saw Ordinary People. That's when we saw, but I mean, I'm so young, and like Ordinary People. And that's one of those ones that as an adult, I watch it now and I'm like, all right, Ordinary People, that is a really good movie. And then I've hit a button, and now what do we got here? I think you're ready. The next great social commentary movie of our time with these quotes. Yeah, I'm sure I'm really, I'm knocking it out here. But, so what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, so what was oh no, Belfast is there too. I thought Belfast got snubbed for a second there. Okay, but so we'll cover that later. What I'd like to cover is, we've got some movies coming out this week. We can talk about that. But before that, obviously, a bunch of trailers appeared in the... Well, okay, now I got to get Andres here because we are going to talk about the trailers for... And I just upgraded my operating system, and now the colors are all different. Because I do want to talk about the... how do I even text this to him? This is annoying. So this is why I need someone else to come in and talk here. Okay, so, see. All right, let's just get into it. I'll try and get Andres on here in a second. Because I got some trailers to play, because one of the great things about the Super Bowl is all the great trailers that show up. And, wow, there were some, I was shocked. I try and follow as much movie stuff as I can, but the one thing that's my favorite is when I do lose sight of the rumor mill, which I used to follow all the time. Follow the rumor mill. This is shooting. This person's in it. I didn't know anybody in this Jurassic Park trailer that showed up was going to be in this movie. I mean, this is a Blade Runner 2049 style surprise, which I will state is the ultimate triumph of me not following rumor mill stuff, which is a long way back, from like Phantom Menace. I knew way too much about Phantom Menace, and it annoyed me. I got to the theater and I was like, man, I paid way too much attention. But of course, we hadn't had a Star Wars movie in however long, so who can blame me? But and then Paul and I did a show that covered the trailers every week, for years. Me, Paul, Karen, and Bart. But then I've kind of fallen back a little bit from the rumor mill, so I get these legitimate surprises, like the fact that in real time, during Blade Runner, because I don't remember the poster I saw, that face being on it. Paul said that that Harrison Ford is on it. But in real time, I'm in the movie theater and I go, Harrison Ford's in this movie? It was the greatest surprise. So this Jurassic Park trailer, I did not expect to see 3 very familiar faces coming back. I mean, And, well, I'll give you my analysis afterwards, but holy crap. Huh?
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist. We created an ecological disaster.
Ellie Sattler.
Alan Grant.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
We're racing toward the extinction of our species. We not only lack dominion over nature, we're subordinate to it.
Come back.
I always come back.
That's another plane, right?
Not exactly.
Don't move. Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
The year of the multiverse continues, right? I mean, it's reunion. It is so fascinating to look at what's happening with movies after the last 2 years, because in March of 2020 was the very first time in America's history since the invention of the technology that no movies were shown. I mean, think about that. They used to say that about on 9/11. It was the first time since whenever that no planes were in the sky. Actually, a great artist friend of mine who passed away too soon. If you've watched this show, yeah, Andres, come on, whenever. Sorry, he just texted me. I don't know if he's still watching though. Yeah, I'll be on in a half hour. Okay, so we'll get Andres on here, and maybe I'll save the DC trailer for that. I'll save the DC and Moon Knight for when Andres comes on, and we'll just continue on here. But this is so fascinating. What's happening right now? The Jackass trailer nailed it, which is actually no. Let's go back to the movies. Let's go back to the. All right, thanks, Andres. Yeah, I'll see. Yeah, so stick around. We'll have Andres on here at 4. I'll save Moon Knight, DC, and something else. Something else happened for then. Oh, Multiverse of Madness. I'll save those for Andres at the end of the show. So there you go. Everyone keep watching. We got Andres Gallegos coming on to the show. I've mispronounced that before. You ever mispronounce somebody's name and then for the rest of your life you're like, is that the right way? Is that the wrong way? Anyway, so that's perfect. Thank you, Andres. Awesome. Andres to save the day. Okay, so, so the movies, right? So this idea, and only in theaters, you know, is now at the end of every trailer. But what we've gone through in the last 2 years is unprecedented. Certainly what it did to movies and moviegoers and, you know, people like us, unprecedented. And so now, as we emerge from it, or certainly trying, the advertising, the Nicole Kidman, we go to the movies, you know, the movies, a place where we sit in seats and we eat food and we tell the person next to us that maybe they shouldn't be on Facebook right now. And the person behind us should stop kicking our seats. Yeah, whatever Nicole Kidman says in that too. But this sort of like embrace, and certainly for this community, anybody watching this nonsense show, knows that it's very meaningful to us that we're getting back to the movies. It was a huge deal. The very first pandemic breaker was Cruella de Vil, and it was for Video Drew's birthday. Rented out the theater. First time I saw a bunch of those people. We all went to go see a movie, but it's made movies a big deal, like a natural resource, which I think, for all of us is like, yes, we treat it that way anyway, but. And so movies made during the pandemic, movies that were greenlit, started production whenever the very first ones to start production, to break, the quarantine by, instituting all these rules and stuff to try and keep everybody safe. All the rules about, face masks, and you got to take your temperature, and then, which of course makes them overlook loading a bullet into a gun. It's so crazy that it got safe in one way and then that happened. But I gotta tell you, look at this crazy effect, the reunion effect. And Jackass advertised that. When's the last time you got together with your friends and laughed your ass off? And it's absolutely true. And I don't have the box office numbers, and Paul's not here, so I don't have the box office numbers. But, oh boy, like the reunion aspect, Spider-Man, No Way Home, it's a reunion. It's like we're together with our friends. We got all our friends together, and so. Yeah, so then Jurassic Park here. We got all our friends back together. We're all getting them back together. So it's like it's the year of reunions. Obviously, Flash. I'm going to show in a half hour when Andres gets back here and close out the show. The Flash. Bringing Michael Keaton back. So it's like this effect of being post-quarantine is fascinating to me. But anyway, I'm monologuing because Paul's not here to stop my monologuing. Now let's look at some other trailers that appeared during the Super Bowl, which is always just such a fun time for these trailers. I mean, Uncharted, of course, and that opens this week. Let me save that because that goes into what's new this week, because I got a couple trailers for that too. Let's go to the other non-comic book movie trailers that happened. This ambulance. This has been advertised for a while now. So of course this is going to be advertised during it. Maybe this has nothing new in it.
We're not the bad guys. We're just the guys trying to get home.
I gotta get back to my wife and my son, no matter what.
I'm gonna get you back home, little brother.
Ambulance.
I'm gonna get everybody home.
One word title. Ambulance. And also coming out this week, Ambulance and Dog and Uncharted. Oh, that would have been an opening for the show, but I didn't have time to prepare. Or I did have time, I just didn't. But Ambulance. So Michael Bay, his offering for the summer movie season, which begins February 14th, as we all know. Take your loved one to Ambulance. Question I have, because they don't advertise it. They don't advertise when something is like a one-take movie or a confined, the format of the movie. But I have a feeling this is a real-time movie, not single take, but just the more I've watched the trailers, I'm like, oh, I have a feeling this movie begins with the heist, and the entire movie is the chase, which would be cool and a really good format for Michael Bay, too. And isn't it interesting how we've made our peace with Michael Bay, or at least I've made my peace with Michael Bay? I mean, he sucked when it all started. He was way too, the music video, I mean, I bristled against all that music video director stuff, too, but eventually, directors become their own genre, and nobody can make a Michael Bay movie like Michael Bay can. At the time, lots of people were making Michael Bay movies. Michael Bay was just another person making Michael Bay movies. We didn't call him that yet. But now, I'm like, I welcome every Michael Bay movie. I think it flipped with the Pain and Gain. Like, suddenly, I was like, he's making a very non-Michael Bay movie. He's got all the Michael Bay style. I mean, this guy just shoots the hell out of his movies like nobody else. So anyway, excited about that. Boy, let's talk about Jordan Peele. Okay, this trailer came out. This was one of those trailers with a trailer, advertised with the trailer. But I got to tell you, I knew Jordan Peele back in the day. I went to Second City with Paul Preston. Jordan Peele was on Second City ETC or Tourco, and then he went to with a bunch of friends of mine that all disappeared, and I didn't realize why, that they had all gone to a place called in Amsterdam called Boom Chicago. And so Boom Chicago, if you went to go see Boom Chicago in let's say 2000, 2001, in there, the lineup you would see was Ike Barinholtz, Jason Sudeikis, Seth Meyers, Josh Myers, Jordan Peele, and some others I'm forgetting too. It's just the incredible comedic talent that went there. And I've often joked with some of the Second City guys that then went on to, like, for example, I know the guys in the Sonic commercial, I guess the old Sonic commercial now. That's Pete Gross and TJ Jagodowski. And if you're interested in improv, go find Trust Us, This Is All Made Up, which is a document of one show done by TJ Jagodowski and Dave Pasquesi, who is now America's Dave Pasquesi because he is the Twi'lek major domo to the mayor in Star Wars. Master improvisers. And so anytime someone goes on to something, you see your friend and you're like, oh my God, my friend is in a Sonic commercial. Like, that's just was mind blowing back in the day. With Seth Meyers, first guy on Saturday Night Live, was held a watch party and everything. And then you kind of get used to it. I texted Pete one time that I'd fast forwarded through a Sonic commercial. And I was like, this is the first time I fast forwarded through a friend's commercial. I got used to seeing them. Jordan Peele, nobody saw this coming. Obviously, Key and Peele was a cultural landmark show, comedy-wise. And so that was very exciting for everybody in the community that knew them and was like, oh my God, they got a show. The show ends up a cultural phenomenon. But nobody saw this coming. I mean, the idea, I have friends who have done all these very spectacular things or whatever, but to just see the name come up, and that name is a brand, is out of control. Come on. That's Kubrick style from Stanley Kubrick, that easily could say back in the day.
What's a bad miracle?
I mean, what is all this imagery?
They got word for that.
What is happening? What's that? What's that?
Yeah, nah.
What a great title, right? Nope. This is, again, simple. These little one-word titles. That's awesome. And also, for anybody, is Sonic 2 doing it for anybody? I didn't see the first one, but boy, it's great to see Jim Carrey back in a major Jim Carrey comedic role. And everybody's back. It's another reunion movie. Everybody's back. You want I don't even know the name. What's the fist guy or whatever? Pounds, Punches. Punches is back. I'll just make up names for these people.
Sonic the Hedgehog. You're no match for me.
Knuckles. Fist Bump. Fist Bump's back.
Hero. Oh, great! The Winter Soldier.
That's a reference that people get now. Winter Soldier, by the way. That's weird.
Work smarter, not harder.
That wasn't too bad.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2, April 8th.
Now, I wonder if there's any plot line. Like, I go into the Marvel movies, and, I'm the one that leans over and goes, okay, that's a guy from whatever, from whatever. So hyped for Sonic 2. That's awesome, yeah. But the Sonic references, obviously is going to be lost. What? Hold on. We got news here because I didn't look up a bunch of facts here. Idris Elba as Knuckles. Well, that's pretty cool. God, Idris Elba, man. I just watched a little Suicide Squad last night. American Treasure, that guy right there. But yeah, so Sonic 2. I mean, I need to see the first one because Jim Carrey doing like all out comic stuff, and just what a perfect casting there. But anyway, we'll move on. It's obviously to wrap up that segment. Sonic 2 has been nominated for Best Picture, right? I think that's how I started that segment. Okay, but let's look at a few movies that are coming out this week, because one of these really... So the big movies releasing this week that I saw, although if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, 18 movies are released this week. Here's the ones I'm not covering. Finding Carlos, Too Cool to Kill, A Peloton of One, The Last Bus. I mean, I guess if you shoot something on your Handycam and you put it on Amazon, it's probably going to get listed here. Downfall, The Case Against Boeing. A Fairy Tale After All. Incarnation, Streamline, Pursuit, A Banquet, Ted K, The Ledge, Strawberry Mansion, King Knight, Monday, and for some reason Eternals is on here too. No word on what date of the week that Monday releases on. However, if I were a marketing genius, might drop it today. Okay, but the ones that are there that people are actually talking about, obviously Ambulance, we just talked about, is coming out. Uncharted, which if you don't know the plot of Uncharted, it's the story of this guy who valiantly struggles to try and get back on this plane, as far as I can tell from the trailers. Will he make it on the plane? 90-minute running time, and it's just this, from what I know.
Your brother believed that there was a final piece.
Well, you know my brother's sick.
You have no idea who you partnered with.
What else aren't you telling me?
Victor. Spoils. How are they going to get them out of here?
What? I got a second clip for that because I wanted to talk about that. The ending of this trailer is quite nice. Okay, so we got a Raiders thing going on here. This guy valiantly struggles to try and get back on this plane. I think that's what the entire movie's about. But I'll tell you what, man, come for the Raiders references and some Raiders ripoff stuff, but stay for the Pirates of the Caribbean in the air. Look at this.
Put them down, boys.
What is that thing on your face?
Yeah, puberty's right around the corner, kid. You can grow your own. Exclusive.
Yeah. So that looks pretty enjoyable. I'm sure I will, unfortunately, knowing my habits, will skip many of the very good movies that are available that are nominated for Oscars and probably end up going to see that. The other one coming out this week, this looks insane. This is called The Cursed, and I don't know if anybody knows about this movie. Is this got any kind of lineage? Is this from anybody that we know? I mean, I don't know anything about this thing except for the trailer. It looks nice and creepy. Is this a werewolf movie? I'm finding out it's a werewolf movie in real time. The Cursed.
Did the girls see what attacked them?
What's happening here?
The land's been cursed.
Yeah, so, sorry, I thought that had no major stars, but of course it stars General Draven from Rogue One, so that's good. But I don't know anything about the director here. I'll look it up in real time because this show could be more meandering. Paul's going to hate this show when he watches this back. Yeah, Sean Ellis. I do not know the director of The Cursed, Anthropoid, Metro Manila. Okay, anyway, so that's that. So that's what's coming out this week, new in theaters. There, I've done my journalistic integrity to inform you, to keep you informed. Yeah, okay, I'll put it up there. They're Love Face, XYZ, online strips without clothing. Who creates the sentence structure of these, by the way? Like, it's just nobody. Nobody. Oh, there we go. Yeah. David called it too. We just saw a whole movie. Uncharted is the story of someone who wants to be Indiana Jones. Yes, but we don't have any Indiana Jones type movies in the theaters, so I'll allow it because Raiders is. Indiana Jones 5 is far away. Far away. And the last one in theaters, sorry, I exited that segment before I played this, but I just wanted to state one thing. The other thing coming out today, again, the simplistic title. What were the other titles that this possibly had before they settled on Dog?
You don't do anything else psychotic on this trip?
Maybe we can have some fun.
Is that a deal, Shake?
Now, I'm going to talk here because this piece of music's probably going to get us kicked off of here.
Lulu's the best hug. You've never had a Lulu hug? No, we don't exactly hug.
But I just want to say, you can tell it's a lighthearted movie because they didn't slow down the pop song that is in the trailer that refers to the plot. Beast of Burden. You see what they did there? See, so Beast of Burden, they didn't slow it down, so obviously that is a lighthearted movie. If they slowed it down, it's obviously going to take a turn. Can you believe that Jurassic Park trailer? I still can't get over that. I just was so shocked that those guys showed up. By the way, speaking of movies that are not slowed down and ironic, in fact, there's the opposite I've noticed too. Now, what was the Moonfall song? That there's slowed down and creepy. That means it's going to be a creepy movie. And then there's amped up, which I think this one does right here. I mean, this is a great use of the song, which I'll probably pull out early here because again, all these songs have songs we can't use in showing off the trailer. But
let's get everyone home.
Good luck, Captain. We're all counting on you.
Roger that.
There's a star waiting in the sky.
Hello,
that's a good reverb.
Your personal companion robot.
We'd like to come and
We're being pursued by just a massive robot.
That was utterly terrifying, and I regret having joined you. Buzz.
let all the children begin.
Wow, that movie is going to be so fun. I mean, the next great Pixar don't turn in crap, and that as a sideways sequel to Toy Story, which because the premise of that is this is the show that the kid would have watched that would have made him want a Buzz Lightyear toy. Just a genius idea. You can see they're not phoning it in. You got the cat, you got the aliens, you got all this other stuff going on. Like, you take the word Buzz Lightyear or Lightyear out of this, call it anything else, put him in a different suit, it's going to be just as good a Pixar movie, because Pixar doesn't do that the same but different thing, actually. They somehow are able to just turn in different every time. Oh yeah, David McKay. Thank you, David McKay, for helping me with my brain farts here. And again, they're not really brain farts. I'm just trying to keep the pace going here. But Bad Moon Rising, yeah, and that's a really good version of Bad Moon Rising in that in the trailer for Moonfall. It's like a really rockin' one with like extra reverb and all that sort of stuff. What do we got here? I want the version of this movie where Andy complains that Lightyear ruined his childhood. Yes, that's good. Just one whole movie of people complaining about the adaptation of Lightyear and how dare they put a female in it or whatever. Let's see. Yeah, just run down the thing here. Yeah, that version of Twitter enough. Yeah. Anyway, so Lightyear, I think that just looks. I mean, I love sequels. I love reboots. I love remakes. People act like these things are automatically trash. And hey, maybe once upon a time, they were clearly cash grabs. You can watch some old sequels from the 70s and 80s, and you're like, they thought none of this out, which is actually the glory of Friday the 13th. If I've never gone on that rant here, this might be that version is just called Twitter, indeed. But Friday the 13th, there's also nothing better than a series that is clearly not thought out as they went along. People are very spoiled now because there's the whole Marvel thing, and man, have they made that work. That is a dream come true. The idea that they'd be so interconnected that one would refer to the next, that was such a pipe dream. We're like, I've been a live action superhero fan since Wonder Woman was on TV, and the idea of these movies were, a lot of them were very half-assed. Sometimes you got a Superman 4. Sometimes you got a Supergirl. Sometimes you got a Steel. I mean, at their best, sometimes you got a Batman and Robin. I mean, that's a big $160 million movie, yeah. So I just, I don't know where I was going with that point. But let us head into the next topic here. I have another topic, and that topic is... See, I don't have someone else to talk while I'm finding stuff here.
I heard it!
I just threw that in for no reason whatsoever. Let's see. Oh, where's my drop? I can't do this without the drop. Where did it go? Oh, here we go.
The new phone book's here! The new phone book's here!
We did not get to cover it, but we have a new Beverly calendar. I figured this is as good a time as any. How do I do this here? Can I zoom out here? Oh, there we go. All right. So we're already up to the Matrix here. So I don't know what the theme is of the month here, but look at this. If we want to, obviously tonight we have a for the lovers. We've got True Romance and Wild at Heart, which is that's such a good double feature because I've heard it said that, True Romance is an ironic title, and Tarantino says, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is not an ironic title. That is what these people think romance is. They both have very different ideas of romance, and the fact that they would go through this thing together and do this for each other and come back for each other is romance to these two people. It's just that those characters have a twisted thought on what romance is. So that is not ironic, but what is done for love and Wild at Heart as well is just as twisted. This is a great Valentine's Day double feature. The Sweet Life, Federico Fellini's The Sweet Life. Now, boy, I mean, actually, looking at the rest of this month here, La Dolce Vita is one of those things where you go, I'll get to it someday. I'd love to watch La Dolce Vita, but it just ain't going to play on a DVD player in your living room. There's just too much chance to go, here's a brief lull. Yes. I was searching my mind. Sometimes you got to spawn. That's just what superhero movies were. And we've got this incredible level of quality now where Marvel is like all this interconnected stuff. But that is still, even though they pull it off every month, impossible. It's just impossible. It's inconceivable, and nobody else should be held to that standard.
That's impossible, even for a computer.
But nobody should be held to that standard. And so when the Star Wars Force Awakens, the new trilogy comes out, people are like, why didn't they do the Marvel thing? Why didn't they have everybody in the same room and talking about, talk this entire thing out, set it all out, which is so funny because, of course, that's the thing people complain about for, like, Edgar Wright. Like, I can't believe they took away the artistic, artistic vision of this guy, and then immediately turn around and go, why didn't they clamp down on J.J. Abrams and actually, like, figure these 3 movies out from the beginning? Obviously, they wanted to make those Star Wars movies in the tradition of the original, which was, no, we don't have the next one written. We know various beats and where it's going, but we want to leave it open to every next artist's interpretation, which is what people say that Marvel doesn't allow people to do. Although, of course, that's absolutely wrong. I mean, come on. The guy from Swingers got to do a Swingers style, Iron Man, a character. I mean, James Gunn clearly allowed to go hog wild. And when Andres gets in here, we'll talk about Multiverse of Madness, because somebody finally let Sam Raimi go. Because the real problem is, in the pre-Marvel era, in Spider-Man 3, who looks more held down? Chloe Zhao, Eternals, or Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3? Pretty sure Marvel is letting these people genuinely express the stories that they want. I feel like since I'm monologuing here constantly, I mean, I feel like I should be on 60 Minutes or something. It's like, and that's why America has to vote for Spider-Man No Way Home for Best Picture. Okay, so we got Dolce Vita. Now, you and I all know this is a good movie. This is a movie we should see. This is an absolute classic. We are also not going to pop it into the DVD player. Hi, Randy. I'm hosting the show alone. This is just me doing it. But we got Andres Gallegos coming in a moment, or Gallegos, one or the other. Wait, I have both. Okay, so but meanwhile we're going through the New Beverly.
The new phone book's here. The new phone book's here.
Okay, so yeah, we got La Dolce Vita. So there we go. Where are you going to see La Dolce Vita? In your living room? Ain't going to happen. Get to the New Beverly, of course, if you live here. Prime cut. Oh no, I skipped some here. Okay, Charlie One Eye. Richard Roundtree, so we got a Western, a great, Black Cowboys, yeah, okay, that's right. Now, I don't know, I'm unfamiliar with Boot Hill, but Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer are, so this is probably a Sergio Corbucci, although other people did use these two actors in other Westerns, but that feels like Corbucci, obviously Bud Spencer, Terrence Hill. Charlie One Eye, I did see it at the New Beverly a while ago, and I cannot remember anything of it. But yeah, Black Cowboys double feature. That's a cool double feature. All right, so we got Some Like It Hot, which again, threw it into the DVD years ago, but how much have I really appreciated Some Like It Hot? Let's see if we can blow that up. Can we blow that up here? Oh, no, I'm blowing up the wrong screen. Let's see, let's blow this up a little bit. There we go. Some Like It Hot and Avante, I don't even know. Isn't it amazing finding movies you've never heard of? So, what a good opportunity. Okay, now, but this right here, must see. Lee Marvin double feature. Lee Marvin, the star of Harrison Ford's Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round. Was that Lee Marvin? No, James Coburn. Wait. Oh, no, sorry. James Coburn. Okay, anyway. Lee Marvin and Gene Hackman, Prime Cut. This movie is great. I was lucky enough to be a part of someone I should have as a guest on the show, actually. A friend of mine used to hold living room film festivals, and they would be these intensive things. It started with every movie that Robert Altman made. Every movie. In order. And I love filmographies. So this was the best thing. And if anybody's interested, I should go over a few of those old ones too, because he kept a blog the entire time we were doing it. So you would show up at Chris's living room on Friday after work, 5 o'clock, and we were beginning with the first Robert Altman movie. And then you go till about midnight, 1, you go 6 hours sleep, all you get. Back to Chris's, 8 a.m. breakfast. We're going with his third movie all the way through, and we did that for Robert Altman over 2 weekends. We did that for John Cassavetes. He did that for Akira Kurosawa over 2 weekends. I was not able to make that one. But one of the more brilliant ideas that wasn't just a filmography was Gene Hackman in the 70s. Gene Hackman in the 70s is a blast. If you need a series to go through, Gene Hackman in the 70s is something special. And Prime Cut and Point Blank, these are some gritty, great movies from the time. So anyway, and then we got TNT Jackson and The Mothers, those are 2 blaxploitation films. And I'm very unfamiliar with them. TNT Jackson. Hold on. Let's look up TNT Jackson. Oh, we're going to do it in real time. On camera. Let's find out what's going on in TNT Jackson here. TNT. Oh, well, you got to love the poster. My goodness. Spine-shattering, bone-blasting. She's a one-mama massacre squad. I've shouted so much this weekend, I actually think I have the exploitation guy voice thing. Let's see. Trailers play the worst on IMDb, don't they? Well, never mind. Anyway, so, and of course, who else rounds out the cast but Dick Miller? Doing what he does best, rounding out the cast. Okay, so TNT Jackson and The Mothers. I'll pull the trailers for those at some point. That's good. Anyway, that's a little bit of a haphazard version of what's going on at the New Beverly, but I hadn't really looked at the calendar myself here. Now, how do I pull this? Get out of here. Get out of here. You bother me. So I'd say, Point Blank, Prime Cut. That is definitely...
VHS.
And La Dolce Vita as well. Yeah, True Romance, Wild at Heart. It's a good time to do better.
VHS.
All right, so let's get back to let's wrap up the show here, and Andres will be popping in at some point, but I'm going to start into it here. The big trailers that showed up at the on the Super Bowl, and I got to say, look, I'm from Cincinnati. Or from Ohio, spent some of my life in Cincinnati, some of my life in Dayton. The idea that I was seeing the Bengals in the Super Bowl was beyond my comprehension. But when I'm sitting there and I'm watching the Super Bowl and the Bengals are ahead in a Super Bowl, and then we go to commercial and there's a trailer for Moon Knight, I have to ask myself, what timeline am I in?
I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams. Day and night. It must be very difficult. The voices in my mind, in your head. Day and night. There's chaos in you. Embrace it.
What? All of it? Like the cape goes into the crescent moon, and like the costume and the Egyptian costume. I mean, and this is, a mere but a few minutes of this show. They're doing it all perfectly. I've already seen there's so many iterations of Moon Knight, not only in his head at any one time. By the way, I am playing WKRP too. I'm continuing my constant vigil for the loss of Dr. Johnny Fever, and for Cincinnati as well. It's I love that nice little Johnny shot there. But Moon Knight, yes, my all-time favorite superhero, one that they certainly were never going to get to, and back in the day when you'd consider such a thing, they're certainly never going to do right, but this is really going to be good. And by that, I mean everyone's going to complain at the end of the first episode that it really doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And then they'll go to the next episode and they'll say, well, it's better than the first, but it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Not realizing there's 6 more episodes behind that, but that's what we do now. I mean, we got to break news, right? You got to say it's not good, or just what life are we even living? Okay. So the Moon Knight trailer, I mean, that just blew me away. Bengals Super Bowl. I'm like, I don't know, man. This is already like the best year. This year is just really kicking ass. Okay, and if Andre shows up, we'll talk about that. But obviously, I wasn't ready to cue that yet. But DC has released a multi-trailer with all of their movies in it, because DC does things a little differently. A little more desperately, if you ask me. We got a bunch of stuff coming. I know the Multiverse of Madness trailer's out, but look, we 3 movies in our trailer. 3 movies. So it was a little sweatier when DC does it. Now, of course, look, I saw Superman 4 in the theater. I never missed an episode of the Hulk TV show. It was terrible. When the Captain America Red Brown movie would show up on TV, I would count the hours till I could watch my Red Brown Captain America Death Too Soon horrendous TV movie. But it's the only Captain America movie we had. The Spider-Man TV movie, Deadly Dust, it was the only Spider-Man movie we had. And I watched that over and over and over. So, of course, all of this is very exciting. It, however, just cannot help but being compared to what Marvel's doing. So, let's take a look at 3 movies. 3 movies in one trailer. Can you believe what DC is kind of desperately, oddly doing, strangely? Let's take a look.
I just got goosebumps. If we don't stand up, no one will.
Come with us. There's a glorious world out there, waiting for you. Are you in?
Now, what occurred to me when I saw that was, holy crap. Well, first of all, I was a wash of emotions. Let's see if I share the screen here. Let's just, get out of town. Get out of town. I didn't know this was going to be, I didn't know Hawkman was going to be in this movie. I didn't know they were going to do the JSA. I love the JSA. And also, let's take a look at this. Where's this clip? Yeah, this one right here. Oh my God. I am a huge, sorry, I'm advertising somebody else's website because I didn't have time to pull a clip here. So yeah, go to these guys, I guess. But Dr. Fate, no, let me look up Dr. Fate's own shot here. Come on. Dr. Fate. I love Dr. Fate. Very obscure hero. Did not expect him to show up in... all right, I'm going to stop advertising other websites. Okay, let's get this off of here. Let's just talk. Stop sharing. Okay. I did not expect Hawkman to show up. I did not expect Dr. Fate to show up. I love Hawkman and Dr. Fate. That was shocking. They're as improbable showing up as Black Adam is, being a movie at all. I mean, that was just really never going to happen. That was also one of those kind of crazy, like DC, a little too nervously soon, as I call it, the too soon grab for the breast on the first date, right? DC is like, hey, we got The Rock. It's like, that announcement was like 2007. Like, any day now, we're going to be, Pierce Brosnan is Dr. Fate. Oh, wait, so resend me the StreamYard link to my email because it's just a link on to the site. What? Hold on a second here. Yes, in real time. I'm going to try and get Andres on the show because I do want to talk about Multiverse of Madness. Hold on a second here. Let's see if this works. That's right. You're going to watch me email here. That's what's happening today. Let's see. Copy. Let's see if this one works again here because I don't have time to email it. That is a whole extra level. See if this one works. Andres. Okay. The jam was always seeing any superhero movie in live action. And that's why I went, and I don't know if anybody knows this, if I could find it here, but I'll show you something that was really, really nerdy. If you remember, there was a Marvel superheroes float on the Macy's Day, Thanksgiving Day parade. Let's see if that clip's online, and if I could show it. Oh yes. Oh God, yes. Okay, so this right here, and we'll go full screen so I don't show everything else. Check this out. Okay, so this is 1988. We're in the lead up to Batman. So live action superheroes starting to get very exciting again. Here, let's quiet down here. Who are they attacking there? Melba Moore, okay, is under attack by Magneto. There's Daredevil and the Hulk. Obviously we've seen the Hulk live action before, but I can't tell you, like, how little representations of live action superhero movies there were. Like, even that bad Corman or whatever European released Captain America hadn't come out yet. This is like 4 years before that. So this is the year before Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman. And this, for some reason, this was so exciting. So this is how excited I get about seeing live action superheroes. I mean, look at that. We got Luke Cage. We got Spider-Man. There was no live action Spider-Man. They had sold the rights to Japan at this time. Spider-Man was a TV show in Japan. That's why they couldn't have a live action. This great quality we got here, huh? We got Green Goblin. We got, I mean, come on. When will we actually see, is that the White Queen? Is that who that is? Andres, you've come at a great time.
What up? Are you talking about Spider-Man right when I show up, man?
Yeah. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on board. Always great talking to you, dude.
yeah, no, it's cool. And Paul's gone. I didn't have time to book anybody on the show. Look at this. OG Wolverine. Look at OG Wolverine.
Dude, do you remember how starved we were for comic book content, like way back when in the day? Like, that was the thing. In the 90s, in the 90s, like, you would look for something that even remotely resembled a comic book movie in any way. Like, that's one reason why I was so excited for The Matrix when that came out. I was like, oh my God, he's dodging bullets like Spider-Man does in the comics? Could we actually get a Spider-Man movie really soon?
Yeah, and you would have to do those mental gymnastics because you just weren't seeing live action superheroes that much.
Yeah.
Before the Affleck era of Daredevil. I mean, look at this. I mean, seeing Daredevil live action here, because this is the very first Daredevil done live action, because the Daredevil, even from the Hulk TV show with the all black costume, which didn't look like anything, was like still 3 or 4 years away. But
still the thing is with the black costume, like, that movie came out in early 1991. If movie release dates still helps me out in that sense.
Oh, which one? The original black costume of Spider-Man in comics?
Yeah, because that was on the Incredible Hulk.
Oh, wait. Sorry. In the comics, it's 85, Secret Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I do remember that Daredevil did appear in the Lou Ferrigno TV series for Hulk. And it was the black suit, but it resembled more of Frank Miller's The Man Without Fear look more than anything else.
Yeah, that's true. And do you remember who the Kingpin was in that TV movie?
Oh my God, I'm blanking so hard on it now, and you're gonna remind me, and it's gonna make me laugh.
John Rhys Davies, Sala from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh man!
Hey, are you on your mic?
Yes, I'm on my mic right now.
Your mic's not coming through. You're I'm hearing you through the computer. Pickup. Just FYI.
Give me 1 second.
But I'm glad you're here because we are talking about the trailers that aired during the Super Bowl. This is a Super Bowl centric show. And so I covered Moon Knight, eating up some time while you were getting ready there. But I'm not afraid to show it again. So
again.
Hey, there you are. Good. Okay.
All
cool.
right. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. It was plugged into
the
StreamYard.
Well, problem with StreamYard, no feedback. I can't hear what I sound like to you. You know.
You sound immaculate to me.
Okay. Wonderful. Very good. But what I was leading up to was so the DC trailer. So we're gonna get to Multiverse of Madness. I talked about Moon Knight. Yes. We can now talk about Moon Knight, the two of us. They showed the DC multi-trailer, and we could talk about that, and then we'll get to Doctor Strange, and then we'll have ourselves a show.
Fantastic.
Okay, so I didn't get to my punchline of this one, which was...
I just got goosebumps.
If we don't stand up, no one will.
Come with us. There's a glorious world out there, waiting for you.
Are you in?
And when I saw that, I said, can you believe those are going to be the 4 worst superhero movies of the year?
Oh man.
It's just going to... I'm not saying any of those are bad movies. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, looking at the year ahead, those are going to be the 4 worst superhero movies of the year. Which means it's going to be a good year, but also that's just the unfortunate reality that those are probably not going to rise to the level of, certainly. Well, I guess Spider-Man would be last year, right? Is that when did that come out? Yeah, okay.
2021. Although I will say I have a lot of hope for Matt Reeves as the Batman.
I'm so psyched for all these. Yeah, I'm very psyched for the Batman. I just love DC's sort of like, I don't know, it's not in universe. We'll do whatever we want. Joker, Batman, like they're no longer tied to like trying to be Marvel, which is good for them. That's a good look for them.
But also DC was the first one to really do that, even in the comics as well. Because in the graphic novels, they started splintering off. They were like, you know what? We're going to tell separate stories away from the universe. We're going to tell stories where, back in the 80s, we were getting stuff like The Killing Joke. We were getting stuff like, Arkham Asylum. And Marvel basically just said, you know what? For graphic novels, all we're going to do is we're just going to make the compendiums more than anything else. So, like, it's oddly similar that history is sort of repeating itself in that sense, but cinematically instead. And I think that's a great ground for DC to cover. I mean, at least for Warner Brothers to cover in the DC universe.
Yeah, so you're saying like the Dark Ages, like that sort of Frank Miller style, that's what the first movies we got. Everybody had to have a black costume. Everything. If you could be the Crow or Spawn, that'd be preferable. If you're a bright superhero, it might not get to you in the 90s and in the end 2000s,
Yeah.
Right. And everybody had to like, okay, I like the red costume. Now how do we make it dark red?
How do we make it Daredevil dark red?
But you're right. And then the comics sort of came back into the light. We had like the Mark Wades and the Kurt Busieks, which were very much more like 50s fans and 60s fans. And they kept that sort of light alive. Like the Flash, the best Flash run, Mark Wade's Flash run, which did that include the story that they're going to do on this Flashpoint? That's not Mark Wade, is it?
No. I think that was Jeff Johns. That was Jeff Johns' run, I believe, because that was early 2006, 2007, I think, movie release dates. Let's just roll with that. How's that?
Okay. Oh wait, what was the movie again? I got distracted because I guess we got taken down for a second, but I'm showing a ton of clips today, so. Yeah, I guess we got taken down for a second. But sorry, what was the movie? What year?
No, I'm talking about for the comics in general, like when the Flashpoint was actually published, because I think that was one of the first things that one of the first runs that Johns had done when he took over the Flash, because I know he had done
Green
Lantern for a little bit, and I'm a real comic nerd when it comes to that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, I used to be an avid reader, worked in a comic book store and stuff. It's been real tough following anything for the last few years, and I do miss it. I have a big stack of Moon Knight comics by my desk here, and that gets read every once in a while. Let's see. Oh no, that's not my Moon Knight stack. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, I have stacks of old comics around, but I haven't read anything new. But yeah, very dark at one time, then got very bright, and yeah. I mean if you remember back in the day when you'd hear the superhero movie was going into production, you say, ooh, I wonder what the costume's going to look like. And then they release it and you go, oh, I see. There's kind of some yellow in the inlay. So that's a reference to X-Men. Or, oh, the black leather forms an X kind of very subtly. I guess that's an Easter egg to the fact that it was once a comic book.
But the weird thing was that back in the day, like I remember in the 90s, like whenever they revealed a costume or something like that, it was always a really bad telephoto paparazzi image from afar that doesn't even compare to what comes out today. Like what comes out today is so clear and it's so vivid and you can get a great sense of the costume. Whereas back in the day, you would go through the tabloids and you would see, the H.R. Giger Batmobile. I remember seeing that when I was a kid and being like, oh my God, that looks amazing for Batman Forever when it came out originally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you would see like really like I remember seeing the really bad photos of Mr. Freeze on the set with Poison Ivy, and I just remember even as a kid going, that looks so fake. And when you see the movie, it looks better, but performance-wise, was that even good? Debatable.
Yeah. I remember when they were shooting Batman in Chicago, and I had moved here, but some of my friends were there, and my friend who's the biggest Batman fan, like all through college, it was all his posters were Michael Keaton and huge Danny Elfman fan, stuff like that. He was walking downtown, and there's all this shoot and stuff like that, and he sees a big flatbed truck with some big lump over it and canvas and strapped down, and he's like, I wonder what that is. And nobody was around. And he like walks up and lifts it, and it's the tumbler. And he's like,
yeah.
Oh my God. He's like, can I just do that? Did I just walk up and see the tumbler?
No. Actually, the funny thing is, I went to college over in Columbia College in Chicago, actually. And I remember back in 2005, early 2005 or so, me and my parents, we were kind of walking around town. We had seen what the school's welcome program and stuff like that. So we're like, here, check the school out. We do this dance performance here. It was a very liberal arts college. All right. And I remember one of the most vivid memories was walking through the streets of Chicago late at night. And then they had a whole corner of the street blocked off. And then they were like, hold on a second, we're shooting something really quick.
Oh man.
And then my mom had asked me, so you think you're going to come down here? And then we saw all that stuff over there. And then they're like, 3, 2, 1. And then all you just hear this loud roaring. We're like, what is that? And then right past us, the tumbler drives right past us. And then my dad looks at me and he goes, at that moment, we knew you were coming here. And then, and then the weird way that life works. Around 2 years later, when I'm there during my freshman year, I end up working on The Dark Knight, and it was all just like a really cool, just seeing that tumbler in person.
Oh.
It doesn't do justice when you hear it in person. Like it's one of those things where it literally, like I think Bale said it best. It literally screams. And I don't know. We got on that whole tangent about the tumbler. I love the tumbler.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that because usually I say if you've ever seen a movie be shot, you've never seen a movie be shot, because you just go and you just watch people mill about and nothing rarely ever happens. But to actually see the tumbler driving, that's a big deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that thing was like swerving all over the place. Like it's the one shot in the movie where it's driving up a bridge and you hear the guy go, and he's in a car making color. It's a black tank. It's like literally that shot when they're driving up the bridge. That's like that's why I saw in person. I'm like, oh man, that's amazing.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And I see David in the chat. Yeah, you're right. It was 2011. You're right. It was 2011. I just remember it was in college when I read that story arc.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was kind of after my time in comic books. Okay, so we've gotten in some trouble here for showing clips, but we got to show a little bit of the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness because all this was new to me, man. This was like to this day, I used to follow all the rumor mills. I used to figure out who was in all these movies, what was going to happen, what characters, stuff. And I don't do it now, and I've just never been happier because then you get moments like this. You're like, what?
I'm sorry, Stephen. Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished.
We should tell him the truth.
What?
Things just got out of hand.
What? What?
You break the rules.
Look out! Who the?
You become a
What
hero.
the?
I do it. I become the enemy. It doesn't seem fair.
Are we still up? I mean, first of all, let's go back to Spawn, right? The idea that we would ever see a Doctor Strange movie at all, it just was never going to happen. There was a TV movie in the 70s that I found at Comic-Con, but Peter Hooton, I believe, was the guy who played Doctor Strange back then. And the evil villainess in that was the mom from Arrested Development, Jessica.
Oh, no, not Jessica Lange.
No, Jessica Walter.
Jessica Walter.
Play Misty for me.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. That was the villain in that Doctor Strange TV movie, which is cool. Thank you. We're still up.
I've got to add something to the queue now. All right, we're good. We just got to talk through the trailer, and we'll be golden. Let's provide our own sound effects.
So yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, Paul and I did that once too, where we did all the dialogue ourselves just to keep from getting copyright strike. We have to bring that bit back.
Let's do it.
But oh boy. So we have, I love that when we get a movie, a Marvel movie, a DC movie, that the supporting casts, you're now allowed to do that, that you're now allowed to pack these movies. I remember when Batman Returns came out, that critics said, 3 comic book characters in one movie is a bit much. Yeah. And I feel like Marvel was like, we'll see about that. And they must have that review above their door every day and go look up and go, we'll see about that.
We'll see about that. But also critics were really weird in the 90s. Like they were just like, oh, you can't have too many stars in the movie. But then they always forget.
So many rules.
Yeah, so many rules, and they always forget. Gene Hackman, Marlon Brando, Ned Beatty.
Margot Kidder, yeah.
Margot Kidder. Just so many, but also that was before Reeves was even a name.
Well, that's true. He wasn't known. But those are big names.
But especially big names for back then. I mean, Margot Kidder
and a superhero movie. I mean, that was back when doing a superhero movie was stupid. Like stars didn't want to do it. It's also an amazing thing now that like stars want to do it. Like, some new star breaks and they're like, ooh, I wonder what Marvel movie she's going to do, or
Yeah, we weren't even like 5 months after we discovered Florence Pugh that she was going to be in a Marvel movie already. I remember fighting with my family and being like, oh, she was great. And then going to Comic-Con later that year, it's like, wait, she's in Black Widow already? Holy crap. They did not wait anything for that whatsoever.
And Marvel's so good at swooping them up too, because DC still has more of a thing of like established filmmaker. I don't think they've really given any of their movies to like a young up and coming thing, but the Marvel's like, oh, Chloe Zhao, good first feature. How'd you like to do a Marvel movie? Like that but like who would have hired the high risk move of hiring the guy from Swingers to make a Marvel movie anyway, to like James Gunn to, they do it constantly. It's don't you feel the difference between DC Comics and Marvel Comics back in the day is exactly the same as the movies. Like the House of Ideas, this like young upstarts, all the young punks are on the Marvel side, and all the corporate entities with too much care for their characters are on the DC side. Although they're obviously letting up a little bit, but
they're letting up a little bit, especially with James Gunn at the helm now, creating possibly one of my favorite DC things to come out in so long in Peacemaker. But
yeah.
Oh my goodness, we'll get copyright strike. We'll get copyright stricken if we start singing "If You Want to Taste It."
That's true. Oh god, it's so good. I almost left it in here from last week. We did play a little bit of it last week, but yeah. I mean, yeah, no. Well, but that's the thing though, is like DC had to hire one of Marvel's guns to literally to.
See what you did?
Yeah, I know.
Shut up, Ralph.
But yeah. So where were we? I mean, multiverse. Okay, so what's going on in that trailer? Who are we seeing? Oh, is Picard in that movie? What? Huh?
I truly don't know. And like, honestly, here's the thing. With Multiverse of Madness, as the title says, anything goes.
Yeah.
And with all these rumors and all these things about what the casting could be or who could appear in the movie and all this other stuff, normally I'd be like, you know what, you're just dreaming. You're just dreaming in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that Sam Raimi is directing this film, and Sam Raimi is about as big of a troll as a director can get, and he's got his pulse on like just what the audience really wants to see, what the audience would like to see, even as a joke. Like Sam Raimi is sort of like the fun uncle who comes over and shows you a magic trick and just goes, oh, you know what? You always wanted that toy. Oh, look, I got you an even better one right now. So, you know, Sam Raimi is the perfect person that if they were going to do as much crazy stuff as they are going to do in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's him. It's him all the way.
And you know, Marvel somehow because the critics had to come up with some line to take Marvel down a notch. They had to try, and the Ant-Man thing, the Edgar Wright thing, was their inroad, which is to say, Marvel's taking away all the freedom of these directors and trying to squeeze them through a Play-Doh fun press or whatever. But it just really couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, very much spoken like someone who begrudgingly saw the latest Marvel movie. I mean, that's just the way those critics come off to me.
Yeah.
But somebody has let Sam Raimi off the leash. I mean, who put Sam Raimi on a leash? Sony, or do you think Marvel? No, I think Sony put him on a leash, forced him into whatever Spider-Man 3 was. He hated so many of those moves. And I just have a feeling Marvel is like, you know, off the leash. I mean, we're going to see the ultimate Sam Raimi movie.
Oh, yeah, at least the ultimate Sam Raimi comic book movie. And I still feel like, for me, still feel that the original Spider-Man is truly one of the best comic book movies just ever made in general. I mean, like just for capturing the essence of the character in that 60s form, like you watch that early Sam Raimi movie and that is a love letter to Steve Ditko.
Yeah.
And just seeing and knowing that Sam Raimi is a fan of Doctor Strange to begin with, like I think he was
Ditko
still
comic. I just put that together.
Exactly.
It's another Ditko comic. Oh,
exactly. There you go,
man. Well, we're gonna see some serious Ditko.
Oh yeah, no, and just even knowing that that Raimi was even interested in a Doctor Strange movie back when David Goyer was going to write it in 1997 at that point.
Yeah.
You see, keep in mind, like anytime we refer to like all these movies that have been in development and all this other stuff, I remember being a kid over at that CVS and reading like all the rags where it's like, oh, New Line has the rights to Doctor Strange. The guy who wrote Blade is going to write it. And I'm like, who is Doctor Strange? And then that was sort of my in for every single one of these comic book characters growing up. So yeah, I've been following Doctor Strange for so long. So
how old were you when Batman 89 came out?
Oh, I was 1.
oh, okay. You're right. Okay. Because I like the comic books took a major tick up after that. Like people who had never read comic books were like suddenly into it because the marketing machine, pretty well documented on Batman, was like over a year long. Mm-hmm. That was the first time any movie had been advertised for a year. So when I showed this Marvel parade, I'm like, this is the year of Batman and superhero stuff's getting real exciting. But that went to the comic books for me. I started reading it. I had always been a reader, but then like all my lunch money started getting saved to like read more and more comic books. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't begin to tell you how much my paper route money got dropped in on the Age of Apocalypse when that came out. Mm-hmm. I was just, I remember being like 7 or 8 years old and then like saving up every week for all those comics. And it's like, oh, this is a big crossover event. Oh, you got to buy Age of Apocalypse. You got to buy X-Men. You got to buy Uncanny X-Men. You got to buy Spectacular Spider-Man for 1 issue. It's like
it was such a cash grab.
such a cash grab, but I would say it was cheaper back in the day because at least the comics were like $1, whereas like nowadays they're all like special edition comics, special edition this. It's $5 now. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, like the $3.95 comic sounds so odd and so weird, and I think they've hovered at that. I think they're stuck at that now. $2.99 or $3.99. Like they rose up a lot, but it's weird. I feel now that comics were undervalued back in the day then, because I'm like, I don't know. You look at this thing; it's all this art. You got paintings on everything, all the sort of stuff. These professional writers, you got 23 pages, and you're like, yeah, that's probably $4. Like how much is a novel? Like I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It probably is actually worth $4. Like 75 cents back when I was a kid you're getting in cheap. You got all this stuff, and it's so yeah. I don't know.
I absolutely agree with you. That comics way back when in the day, they were so underappreciated and so undervalued. Even the comics that came out in the 1930s and the 40s, one of the biggest reasons why you can buy a Detective Comics #1 for $70,000 is because the paper was printed on a very cheap recyclable paper that they didn't even intend for that to stay around.
No,
and they didn't even
disposable.
Meant to be very disposable, meant to be carried overseas or whatever have you. And the thing is that no one could have ever predicted that these characters that popped up in the 30s and the 40s were going to become these new pillars of mythology by this point. Like,
no way to predict it.
No way to predict it. And also even to a certain extent where, it's sort of weird that you can go up to any kid and you can go up to anybody in general. Like, I went up to one of my nephews and who had never read a single comic in his entire life. And I'd asked him what was Spider-Man's origin story. And he was like, oh, he got bit by a radioactive spider. Oh, what about Batman's origin story? Oh, like, these characters have become so part of our vocabulary that someone who you're able to even hold even a semblance of a conversation with will be able to tell you what all these origins were.
Right.
So so at that point, it's mythology.
Well, and also, man, I gotta tell you, what's crazy. What's crazier than crazy is the fact that all of these characters have now entered the regular pop culture. That people can make a reference to Groot. Like my mom knows who Groot is. I just showed the Sonic 2 trailer earlier, and he's like, "Hey, they're skiing or something." And he goes, "Careful there, Winter Soldier." I'm like, "Did you make a reference to the most obscure comic book for a long time?" Like, Winter Soldier is now known pop culture. I love it. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah. Now I don't feel like the biggest dork in the world for like when I saw the Avengers way back when the day in theaters. Like, all of a sudden I was like, I remember being in a crowded audience over in Michigan, and literally when Thanos pops up, I was the only one who went, holy crap. And then all of a sudden, like, you just heard my voice reverberate across everybody. And I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. I'm still the only one comic dork that knows about this character.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's become a tradition to have to lean over to the person you took to one of these Marvel movies and explain what the end credits were. You see, who's it? Star Fox. Well, you see, Star Fox was a, but Thanos was the big one where they really just didn't give you any sort of clue. Like, sometimes they'd be like, all right, you're ready for your next adventure? New guy? But like, that was just like, he just turns to the camera, and so really at the end of that one, everybody's like, huh? And you can see the whole theater. If you got a shot from the back of the theater, you can watch everybody just turn to their left and explain it to the
Yep. So many people. And I remember my friend at the time just literally leaned over at me and was like, is Hellboy a part of the MCU? I'm like,
right, yeah,
Hellboy.
I remember that people thought it was Hellboy.
Yeah, and I'm like, guys, I know I'm that colorblind, but no. It's Hellboy is a red guy. That is a purple guy. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but see, that's how little people know it. But also the fact that people knew Hellboy, that's kind of cool, actually, at that point too.
Oh yeah, especially.
Randy apologized for the typo after this, but will Bruce Campbell show up? And who will Bruce Campbell be in the MCU? Boy, that'd be fun if it happened. I mean, it's certainly not lost on the powers that be at Marvel, like, oh yeah, we want Bruce Campbell to be in this. I mean, back in the day, if he were pitching to Sony, he's like, and can I put Bruce Campbell in this? Is like, what? No, huh? What are you talking about? Who? We've never seen any of your movies. But, Marvel now is like, they're in the know. They're pretty excited. So, yeah, who's he going to play? We don't know.
That is a great question because, I mean, like, for the longest time, like whenever you associated Bruce Campbell with a comic book character, I always associated him with the ending of Darkman. Even though Darkman is not a comic book movie, but it's about the closest to a 1940s noir comic book come to the screen at that point in time. But man, who could he play? I mean, a younger Bruce Campbell, I think, would have been a lock for Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And
who did I just see that would make a great Mr. Fantastic? Wilson, Patrick Wilson. I just saw Moonfall, and I'm like, man, that's certainly, like, first of all, Paul and I had a discussion last week, like, that guy needs to end up in the MCU. I mean, they just waiting to be put into the MCU, but Mr. Fantastic would be a really cool move.
it would be a really cool move for him. I kind of feel that he's sort of very well known as Ocean Master by this point now.
Oh, that's right. He is in the DC universe.
I
think I forgot that during our conversation. Yeah. Yeah, and there's not a whole lot of crossover. You know, if you've made an appearance as a DC guy, it's, you know, it's like the old thing. If you're on Mad TV, you're not allowed on Saturday Night Live like back in the day. You know?
I mean, not necessarily true, because sometimes DC will pick up people, or the MCU will pick up people as well too. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne, Man of Steel, and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne was in,
right.
Yeah, that was like barely like a couple of years apart from each other.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
And then also on top of that, oh my goodness, the other big one, Zachary Levi. He was in the original. Oh yes, I love this.
Last Shot of Darkman.
Yeah. I mean, like, tell me you don't look at that and you don't think he could have made an incredible Mr. Fantastic right there.
Oh, God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. Let's get this out of here. I'm not quick at getting these off of here. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. And even David right here is also mentioning that Suicide Squad had a couple MCU actors as well, too. I mean, like, freaking Michael Rooker, David Dastmalchian as well. Yeah, like, the lines are starting to blur. Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
There's
like
that.
That's some good casting right there.
Oh,
I'm sure all the rumors back in the day were Jim Carrey as Plastic Man. Like that wrote itself.
Robin Williams is Plastic Man, right?
Oh, right.
God, like that was the other thing too. I remember just like reading in the tabloids one day. It's like, and Robin Williams is rumored to be. Robin Williams is rumored. What does that mean? Rumored. It means he's probably going to be in it. And like that's me talking to my uncle and like me trying to read a tabloid magazine way back when in the day.
Yeah.
The public school system, even when I was 7, was still not that good.
Well, I love that it makes sense though that you learned to read by reading Variety. Andres.
it was actually oh my God, Detective Comics. My very first comic arc was the Nightfall Detective Comics arc, right when Bruce, after he got his back broken and he was training to be a ninja. One of my favorite memories was literally my uncle giving me the cover, giving me the comic for Night's End. And then I'm like, this isn't Batman, this is a ninja. And then my uncle's like, yeah, but how do you think Batman's so good at fighting? And I was like, because Batman is a ninja. That's why he's able to disappear. I was like, like I literally remember just like that light bulb went in my head, and I'm like, oh, it makes so much sense. That's why Ra's al Ghul makes so much sense when you look at it in the universe. That's why he's the best judo master. I was like,
yeah, it's true. And then but it took till, of course, they didn't do a Batman origin movie until Batman Begins, you know. But bring the ninja in. They were done with doing origin movies for some reason in 1989, and there had been no superhero movies yet, really, basically.
They just wanted to kickstart the characters and then just make them go, you know what? Let's just move forward. Everyone knows the origin. And then now we just kind of got into a place where in the early 2000s, we had no choice but to explain the origin over and over and over again, even for the characters that we didn't know. Like, I would say for like characters that, like the Green Lantern, you know, it's not a character that's in the periphery of the audience, but it's a character that once you give them an in for it, I think people would come around to it. The only problem was the movie it doesn't matter if you do the origin story correctly. You got to have a movie in which the story all comes together at the very end.
It's amazing how straightforward all the storytelling was for a while. I mean, I guess not in Marvel ever, but again, Marvel drinks unicorn tears. I don't know how they do it. It's just insane, and it's an unfair comparison. Like honestly, DC movies. I know I did it earlier, and I like to poke fun at DC because because what Marvel's doing is absolutely impossible. Like they just did. I've never imagined I would see superhero movies of this variety and quality and all this sort of stuff. But so I mean, the DC movies are absolutely great. Make me so happy.
I feel that we're constantly talking about the comics, man. I'm sorry. I know you brought me in to talk about the movies.
but well, let's get back to Multiverse of Madness. So we have a lot of surprises going on here. Is that is the girl in the jacket, the little red, white, and blue, and is that I can't think of the name of the character. Does anybody in the chat know who that was? Let's get into it.
I could have sworn that you're talking about
Miss Marvel. Is that what I'm thinking of? Is there
no, not Miss Marvel. I don't think it is. I think Miss Marvel is being introduced as her own thing. That's Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew she was going to appear in some movie coming up, and I thought for a second, because we see very brief images of everything in this,
Mm-hmm. Well, she's being introduced in Miss Marvel, and she will appear in the Marvels movie as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to say that. She's being introduced in Miss Marvel, and she's going to appear in the Marvels movie. It's literally a movie called Marvels. It's the Captain Marvel sequel.
Oh, is this called Marvels?
Yeah, it's
taking the title from the old Kurt Busiek comic.
Yeah, and it's
but not an adaptation.
Not an adaptation, no, just a name only adaptation.
Okay,
but it is the Captain Marvel sequel, and it's being directed by Nia. Oh my God, I forget what her name is. She just directed Candyman last year.
Oh yeah. Okay, who is that?
Nia Costa, I think is what her name is. Nia
DaCosta.
Nia DaCosta.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. So she must have done something before Candyman, right? Or
I think Candyman was the thing that got her in.
That was the thing, huh? Wow. Yeah. Okay. So she's directing the Kamala Khan Marvels.
Yes.
Which is the sequel to Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And that will have Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel in it. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yeah. So obviously who we're seeing here is someone different. I don't know who it is.
I correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I think it's a character that's specifically made for the movie.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it's in the Doctor Strange canon, but yeah, I can't recall that. And here's also the other thing too. I'm more familiar with the 70s and the 80s arc of most of these characters, because I remember during the summer of 2004, right before Spider-Man 2 came out, during the summer, what I would do is I would walk over to my Barnes & Noble, and I would get up at the crack of dawn at like 7 and walk the 2 or 3 miles to the Barnes & Noble and just stay there and read all the essentials collection of all the different characters. And that's how I caught up on everything from the 1960s forward, from Spider-Man, and just really, I don't know, that was such a magical time in terms of comic book reading for me. Like, it's one of those that you just go, man, these characters have been around for so long. Yeah, and Miss Marvel is going to be a TV show.
Okay, yeah, I thought there was when I saw her, I was like, oh, that's a young Avenger, and which Kamala Khan was as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, America Chavez. Okay, so and Miss America, I guess, is her superhero handle from what I'm seeing online here as well.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. I mean, how does that get introduced into Doctor Strange? I have no idea. I'm very fascinated to see.
You know what? It's Marvel. Trust the
Marvel.
Just trust Marvel. We believe in Kevin Feige. That should be on a T-shirt.
Right? We believe. I believe in Kevin Feige. Absolutely. Why would he ever be doubted? Oh my gosh, yes. I believe. No. I believe. Okay, so and then the energy, the one that looks like Captain Marvel in the trailer, some are saying is not Captain Marvel, but it looks like there is definitely a Captain Marvel. Oh, is that the other Captain Marvel? Is that Monica Rambeau? I think someone said that.
Oh yeah, you know what?
But Monica Rambeau then goes full Captain Marvel, because she's the other Captain Marvel. She's the Captain Marvel when I read comics as a kid, was Monica Rambeau. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see her go full Captain Marvel. So it looked like Captain Marvel's full energy form, but I think it was Monica Rambeau is what people were saying on Twitter. So
I'll buy that. I'll buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1. So man, you're jamming so much into a Doctor Strange sequel. I mean, Sam Raimi's directing all of these superheroes in this one movie. It's out of control.
It's out of control, and from what I've been hearing about the buzz from early test screenings is that it is so convoluted and so crazy that they need to go back in and do a couple of reshoots here and there to make things make slightly a little bit of sense. And whenever people hear about reshoots with Marvel or anything like that, people always panic and they go, "Oh, the movie's in trouble." It's like, no, Marvel is smart enough to know that the movie is a quarter made in the shooting and in the writing and all that other stuff, and then the other half is made in the post-production, and they're smart enough to know that they can go back and they can look at exactly what they have and what needs to be clarified and what needs to be fixed. I mean depending on the quality. That's what you're
supposed to do, actually. People act like something went wrong. Here, you're supposed to shoot it and go, "Oh, we missed a couple shots. We should shoot those." Trouble in the production.
Like people will go, "Oh, well, I don't think it was clear that that this character and this character are related." Oh, what if we just added one small scene in there to make it more sense that that these people are related or something like that? Like,
of course. All the off-screen dialogue that connects things. I catch as an editor. I catch that all the time. Anytime someone's head is to the camera and they're talking, you're like that, and it's plot information. It's like because your brother was the villain or whatever. You know? Like, oh, obviously that wasn't clear beforehand. But that's smart producing. I mean, that's every movie. Every movie you see has someone's head to the back of the camera and is dropping some info that way.
There you go.
But you know what's funny is like people are always like, trouble. And again, journalists have to say that's one of the 12 stories they're allowed to report, which is like, troubled production. Oh, something they had to reshoot. But what's funny is it's almost usually the equivalent of saying, did you know before it was well edited, it was poorly edited?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, yeah, I gathered that.
Oh yeah. No, like even going to film school, one of the biggest examples was my editing professor was literally just like, what would you say is one of the greatest movies of all time? Would you say The Godfather is one of the greatest movies of all time? And you know, according to the Academy and according to culture in general, The Godfather is one of the best movies ever made.
Sure.
But the thing is, that movie was a plate of spaghetti in the editing room. It made no sense whatsoever. And you look at and that's also the other thing too, is that there's a lot of moments in the film where they're heavily ADR sequences. Like Francis Ford Coppola struck lightning in a bottle with that movie in terms of everything coming together. But the thing is that people go, oh, if it didn't work when it was being shot, does it deserve to ever work? It's like, yeah, absolutely. That's where editing, that's where cinematography, that's where everything comes into play. That's where a movie is 20 or 30 or 40 different happy accents all meshed together to make a cohesive story. Like, no one could predict if a movie is going to be as good as it is. You know, you just like we were talking about with James Gunn. James Gunn went into Guardians of the Galaxy and he told the story over at a Q&A that I saw that literally he woke up in the middle of the night about 4/5 of the way through shooting the film, and he had a nightmare, and he basically just went, "Oh my God, I might be making Pluto Nash right now."
Yeah.
like he thought it was going to be crap. And then he's like, man, maybe Marvel really missed the mark on casting, on getting me to direct this. And you know, you never. There's
a lot of panic, and as an editor, when you start editing, you're like, oh, this is terrible. This isn't working. This isn't going to work. Now I've done it long enough, and it happens every time. You start into anything. I mean, you know, it's like trying to do promos for the Spectacular or whatever. It was under such a deadline or whatever, and I only got like 2 days in or 3 days into editing one of the more complex ones or whatever, and I was like, and it comes into my head, this is a disaster. This is very poorly edited. I don't know if I can pull out of this. However, I've done it too many times to know that that's actually true. So my brain then automatically goes, but you know, this is what you think on day 3 of any 5-day edit or 6-day edit, you know? And when I do trailers for the Hollywood Bowl and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I've lost it. I must have lost it.
Which I will say, all your stuff that you've edited for the Spectacular and for the Schmoedown so far, just my kudos always to you, man. Great stuff.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, and it also helps to have like higher standards for yourself and stuff like that too. So that like for example, we started shooting some stuff for Schmoedown season 9, and it's you're never ready. Like suddenly it's shoot day. Suddenly it's time to do this show. You're never ready for art. You're never ready for art, and you're never ready for a kid. So, you just have to have both and then work it out.
Yeah.
But it's like I was trying to write some stuff, and I wanted to come more prepared. But it's like the South Park guys say. You ever seen 7 Days to Air, the South Park documentary?
Oh Jesus, that documentary made me go, thank God I don't work for Trey Parker or Matt Stone. Like,
well,
just
yeah,
seeing
it would do that too.
Like, yeah, but it's one of those that I watch that every now and again, just to sort of just like where I'm down in the dumps and I'm not anywhere creatively whatsoever, and I'm just like, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta work through it. You just gotta work through it.
You just gotta say yes, and I can do that. You gotta say yes. I can do that because no getting it done starts without saying that. One of the first lessons I learned, I went to college. I was an extremely ambitious kid. Gonna be a filmmaker. Gonna do this. Gonna be a writer. Gonna be a comedian. Gonna be. I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna do it all. So I go to my freshman, counselor in my major, and I have to have a meeting with this guy, and I come in and I'm like, look, I get, I got this, I want to do this, and it's comedy, and I go, what do I do? I want to have my own show, I want to make my own movie. What do I do? And he goes, just say yes. And I was like, what? And he goes, say yes to everything. If someone asks you to work on their thing, don't judge it. Just say yes and go work on that. Go work. And so that's always stuck with me ever since. Just say yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I've told you
because it will get done. You can get it done. You will get it done, and unseen forces will come to your aid. That's somebody else's quote.
Exactly.
Act boldly, and unseen forces will come to your aid, and that's what happens with James Gunn. And unseen forces come in, and there is every chance that Vin Diesel was busy that week. But he wasn't. There's every chance that Chris Pratt couldn't be sold as a hunk.
Yeah,
but he did. You made it, So yeah, act boldly, and unseen forces come to your aid. So
honestly, I can't agree with that anymore. I mean, like I've told you so many times about like, just working on The Dark Knight was just one of those things where it just it just happened out of nowhere. It just happened because I was in the street suffering from massive insomnia, and I was going to 7-Eleven just to go get a freaking Slurpee at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and seeing a buddy of mine, and just in him going like, oh my God, I wish someone could just take over for me. And I just went, I'll do it. And then literally from that, just showing what you can do and showing what you can, how you can help a production and stuff like that.
Yeah.
From that, I don't think I was legal enough to work in the union at that point.
Wow.
And it was just one of those things where we're like I had just turned 18 by the time the next thing came around. So like working on Batman and just showing them that you're not an idiot and that you can follow directions. All of a sudden, Wanted pops up. Oh, they're doing reshoots for Wanted. Oh, well, look, they're doing something with a small independent movie. Oh, look, all of a sudden, Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Like you never know where saying yes will lead you.
Yeah,
just say yes. I mean,
just say yes.
Just
be positive.
Yeah, same thing with the Schmoedown as well too. It's like, oh, you know what? Eric was really big into the Schmoedown. I was just playing along with him as well too, and he's like, you know what? Would you be teammates with me? And I'm like, yeah, why not? And here we are.
Awesome. And here we are.
Yeah,
I heard it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, it's been nice. So Moon Knight, thumbs up or thumbs down? What are you thinking?
Thumbs up. I think that's going to be a big surprise. And in terms of how weird Moon Knight gets, I think we're only scratching the surface, especially where we're getting tuxedoed Moon Knight as well. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, what was that guy's name? The doctor, the one with the mask. That's a more recent run of Moon Knight. That's not my classic Moon Knight, but like the guy in the white suit.
Yeah,
with the face mask. I can't remember. He has some other kind of name, like Dr. Knight or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was from a little after my time on that one.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I see a Moon Knight #1 in the comic book store, I pick it up and always check out what the new angle is or whatever, but it's been a while. But man, I just always loved Moon Knight. Thought that costume was the bomb. Thought the whole Egyptian thing was the bomb. The idea of having as many personalities as Faces of the Moon was the bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, and boy, they're just really doing it up. And I just love that the critic line was that Marvel's doing the same thing over and over, which is literally never been true. I mean, maybe Iron Man 2 is is somewhat similar to 1, but also maybe not. I mean, Thor 2, which people don't like, is nothing like Thor 1. You know, like
in all the worst ways.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, it's just the fact that like Eternals, they've never made anything like Eternals. Like the idea of at this point to like throw down the gauntlet of like, now we're doing a superhero movie with no non-superheroes. I think there's like 2 people in that movie that aren't superheroes. Yeah. That's just, you know, and they all have differently colored, you know, like it's already a Justice League. On the blue, green, red, everything, brightly colored costumes. Oh, it's so good. It's amazing.
They really swung for the fences in that Eternals movie. I mean, despite however you felt about it, you cannot deny that was a swing. That was absolutely a swing.
Oh yeah.
And Marvel could afford it by this point in time. Kevin Feige might be, I mean, arguably this day, the most successful movie producer ever to have lived.
Ever. He's doing exactly what we would laud a producer like the David O. Selznick back then. He's the modern O. Selznick. Mm-hmm. Like, and has done better than O. Selznick. O. Selznick had bombs.
Yeah. and even now, what would you consider to be an MCU bomb? Ant-Man, and it still even made bank. It just broke even.
And applauded whenever he shows up in one of the other movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that, I mean, what is the least money-making Marvel movie? But it's just amazing. Like, you know, I mean, you could ride on the joy of just having a Black Widow movie, but instead they always act like this is their very first movie and nobody likes superhero movies and they're going to prove that these superhero movies can be good. They do that every time. Like Black Widow takes challenges on it that are just like, you guys are really nervous that even Marvel fans aren't going to like this movie. You're making sure, like, we're going to prove ourselves this time. That feels like Marvel every time. Shang-Chi felt like that. Like, all right, we're going to prove ourselves this time. But this time we're really going to prove ourselves, guys. And I was like, you don't have to. But they're like, no. We're going to do it real different. I know you guys think we're doing an origin story. We're not going to do one of those hacky old origin stories we did, which are all great, you know? Like, I'm amazed. I adore it. But yeah, Moon Knight. We finally made it to Moon Knight.
Yeah, and then, I mean, I've been waiting for this for ever since I read those comics when I was like 15. I was like, man, I mean, and people always call him like the MCU, the Marvel version of Batman. And I'm like,
yeah,
in a very not aesthetic, but in
basic
a
way.
Very superficial way, I would say.
Yeah.
There you go.
While Batman doesn't have 4 personalities, one of his personalities is a millionaire and the other is a superhero. I'll give you that. I'll spot you that one. But he doesn't have multiple personalities, and he certainly didn't die in Egypt, and he certainly isn't run by an Egyptian god.
And he certainly isn't played by Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, but he does have gadgets. That's the other thing. It's like he has gadgets. He has a moon copter, which I'm sure they'll get to at the end credits of this show because it looks like they're playing the hits. They're like, look, there might only be one Moon Knight show. We got to get to everything, guys. You know.
Yeah.
Now this Green Lantern, like, we're saving the best bit for the post credits. You're like, that whole movie should have been started with your post credits, and then you started the whole movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I remember when I was in film school, there was a semester in LA program that was here, and that was actually one of my first times that I came out to LA for like a week or two. And then what ended up happening was we had a meeting with the production designer for Green Lantern, and he was going to come in and sort of just tell us, like, you know, oh, what's the expectation? What are certain things that you have to do and all sorts of stuff. And he showed us his office, and his entire office was covered in Green Lantern stuff that got rejected, and then we were like, "Oh, is that Green Lantern?" And then he immediately looks at all of us and goes, "Yeah, sorry about that, guys. It was going to be far better." Yeah.
Yeah, very nervous company, Warner Brothers DC. They're very nervous. They've been shown by Marvel that you can take big risks and big swings, and so they started doing more of that. But they're very nervous. Like that Green. All of the DC movies have been a little Green Lantern. Like I watch Wonder Woman, great as it is, and I'm like, I see a lot of Green Lantern in this. Like a lot of nervousness, a lot of moments before a big set piece that had clearly been storyboarded, where they have to explain why they're doing this.
Yeah,
you know? I mean that's in Wonder Woman, the one we like, you know. So it's like but it's a tough genre. Like people really did not master this genre, and again, Marvel, it just shouldn't be compared to Marvel because I just can't believe what they're doing. It's crazy.
It's a different flavor of the comics, just even how the comics were back in the day. Like there was never a single issue of Moon Knight that was equally or comparable to anything that Batman was doing, or vice versa. There was not a Superman comic that was nearly as great as a Captain America comic at the time. Like it was all just a big playground for us. We all had our tastes back in the day.
and truthfully, DC is somewhat being faithful to the adaptations. Green Lantern is a boring character. I always loved him, but he's dull. There's no nuance to that. He's a jet pilot.
Yeah, Hal Jordan is kind of boring. I'm more. Oh my god, I'm blanking on his name.
Sinestro, or are you talking about the Green Lantern universe?
In the Green Lantern universe, the second one, the one who came out as gay not too long ago. Oh my goodness,
Mark Strong.
No, not Mark Strong. No, not talking about the actors. I'm talking about the actual comic character. Like Hal Jordan is the one that is most well known in the. No, not Jon Stewart. Although I love me some Jon Stewart. Oh my god. Oh man, what's the other one?
Well, Jon Stewart came out as a talk show host, right, in that comic book. That's always been a weird thing, the Jon Stewart connection.
Yeah, Guy. There we go. Yeah. Oh my goodness, his name was Guy.
Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner. Oh my god, why did that take me so long to get out?
Yeah, the other Justice League, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I see your point.
All right. So, as you probably would have assumed before you started watching the show, very exciting time for comic book fans and comic book movies. Thank you, Andres, for coming and joining me to talk about Multiverse of Madness, Moon Knight, and DC. Did we talk about Dr. Fate? Pierce Brosnan is Dr. Fate?
Oh my God.
What?
No. We didn't talk about that, but
wow.
I'm so
Big
excited.
Surprise.
Big surprise, and then also on top of that, that's such perfect casting right then and there.
Yeah.
You're not even talking about most of the DCU stuff that's going to be out. I'm so excited where they're going to take Flash at this point.
Right.
I'm excited about the possible future where Black Adam could go later on down the line. I mean, again, it's gonna be a great time to be a comic fan.
It is. And so, I mean, in the rest of this year, we've got, we've also got a Black Panther movie to look forward to in December, I think. I mean,
yeah, it's
a hell of a year.
Yeah.
So, but no trailer for that during the Super Bowl. We are being a little topical here. We were talking about Super Bowl trailers and talking about other things being released this week with my good friend Andres Gallego. Jago Unchained. Are you chained or unchained this week, Gallego?
It starts.
Let's just call him the Ghost.
Yeah. There you go. I'm giving you that out right there. The Ghost.
We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
All right. So if you've enjoyed this, what is wrong with you? But Paul Preston may be back next week. He actually may be gone for 2 weeks. But I swear, I'll prepare a little more for next week's show. But it was a long weekend of shooting, and then my Bengals. I don't know if you know this, Andres, but I'm from Cincinnati in Ohio, and so yesterday was quite the party watching the Bengals not win the Super Bowl, but the entire time going, I can't believe they're here.
Can't believe they're there, and I can't believe that they scored all those points right after the halftime. It was like, wow.
I know. Yeah. Came out of nowhere. That was awesome. Yeah, and I said at the top of the show, I said, I'm sitting there watching Bengals Super Bowl, and a Moon Knight trailer comes on, and I'm like, what timeline have I ended up in? But it's obviously the brightest timeline, even though the Bengals didn't win, because just going is a thrill.
They're still there.
Yeah. Well, and I'll close out. And by the way, if anybody's enjoyed this, please go to the movieguys.net. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell on YouTube so that you know when we're going live. Who knows? It might not always be scheduled on Monday. I might just decide one day, like, let's just go live. But also, we got some very exciting things coming up. Like I said, we started shooting some stuff for Schmoedown, and trust me, you definitely want to subscribe and hit the alarm bell on everything that's going to happen this season, because just from the briefest glance, nothing but home runs were hit this weekend on everything that was yeah.
I've heard.
Solid home runs, everything. So yeah, definitely follow us, follow the Schmoedown. Obviously, the people that are watching right now probably are quite aware of the whole thing there. But thank you for watching and following the movie guys. And I'm going to play this one last time so you can remember the good times, and then I'll take us out.
This could be a sentence that a month ago would sound incomprehensible. From 31 yards, McPherson, and Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
Johnny Fever, and I am burning up in here. Woo! We are all in critical condition, babies. But you can tell me where it hurts, because I got the healing prescription here from the big KRP musical medicine cabinet. Now, I am talking about your 50,000 watt intensive care unit, babies. So just sit right down, relax, open your ears real wide, and say, give it to me straight, doctor, I can take it. Almost forgot, fellow babies. Booger!